MK2 was great and stuff, but I really didn't want us to just do the same game with prettier graphics.
We were always trying to one-up what we did. Like, obviously, MK1, we had the, you'd fall into the pit. And that was great. It was always asking the question, well, what can we do next?
Reptile wins.
MK3 was like, now we're going to knock you upwards. Now we're going to knock you downwards.
Right.
Certainly the visual qualities of the backgrounds changed over time quite significantly.
As the story took it, MK3 was based more on Earth.
.3D technology played a part.
I had been learning how to sculpt things in 3D. I created what became the subway, and I showed Ed, I'm like, hey, we could actually just, instead of like going out and videoing stuff and getting things out of books or whatever, or even just drawing them, we could actually build them in 3D with correct lighting and stuff like that. And it could even help us do the parallaxing if we wanted it to. He was like, yeah, that's pretty cool. Let's go that route. So a lot of the backgrounds, I would kind of build them in 3D, and then Tony would take that and draw on it and dress them up, make them look better from there.
There's a look that's missing. It looked kind of too plastic and toyish and simple, but it was great for a starting point. We would always touch up over it. That would give it its clean look. And one of the backgrounds that we started with 3D was the soul chamber. I always like a star in the background, and I just coined the name Sonato for the soul inside the mouth, and I drew that in deluxe paint, frame by frame.
I did a drawing of this in 3D just so you can make it any size and any lighting, any angle you wanted. This is it's just ornamental, it's just like kind of a really neat background thing.
We would always in Mortal Kombat put in names, our names, hidden somewhere sometimes. And mainly it was the graveyard.
I'm sure that I probably designed in 3D the tombstones, and Tony probably drew in our names. A lot of that grass, and maybe even putting the background in there, like the sky and stuff. Dave Mikicic joined our team, and he knew about Photoshop. We hadn't heard about Photoshop. Photoshop was new. He took that city scene with Shao Kahn's fortress in the distance. What I gave was kind of stale. It was very stark. He added like haze and all kinds of cool atmosphere with Photoshop. We started using Photoshop a lot after that.
Once we get the digitized image, it's a lot like painting. And right now we're going through a process where we sort of filter the images through. We'll grab the image and Steve Moran will start and do some Photoshop on the guy, and then we'll hand him over to Tony, who does some touch-up. And then it gets passed over to me, and then I do some of this more detailed touch-up, and then I give it back to Steve, and he kind of separates the different colors and creates the different palettes, and then we give it back to Tony, and he does the final touch-up and stuff and gets it ready for the game. I'm working on a friendship move for Shigoro character, and that's her tentative name. She didn't have a real name yet. The move is she's got to turn around and she's going to pull out sort of plates and little sticks, and she spins the plates and the sticks and balances them on her hand, and she does this with her back towards you.
I remember wanting the characters to be a little bit smaller. The reason I wanted them a little smaller was so they can have more lateral motion to run.
I remember having that conversation in Ed's office, because my first reaction was, wait, we should be getting bigger. It's
right.
Like, what do you mean smaller, The hardware, we can push more stuff, and we should be making them bigger. But it didn't last long. I think once the run button was in, you saw right away the value of the sprinting.
Round one, fight.
I wanted it to be more aggressive. I always felt like our walking was a bit slow, and that really was pushing for the run. To me, it feels weird when I play MK2. I feel like I'm in molasses. It's like, come on! I just want to move faster. So. We really loved to see players doing combos, but some players just couldn't uppercut somebody and then jump and then, you know, juggle them and do all these kind of. So we wanted something that was a little bit more mechanical, right? Like that anybody can do 1-1-2 or something like that. Right, the whole dynamic of the game was just so aggressive. And some people were intimidated by that.
Finish him.
It was somewhat controversial. There was a guy who was a tech in our, you know, like where they would build the games. He was looking at it and he goes, you know, I don't know why you added the run button, you know, I don't know what that. And then, you know, fast forward 3 weeks.
Nightwolf wins.
He actually came by and said, you know, yeah, I don't know what I was thinking, man. That thing was cool.
One day I was in the office at Playboy downtown Chicago, and the phone rang. It was Jack Hager, and he was looking for a couple cheerleaders for this game called NBA Jam. I had no idea how to cheerlead. I said I could, but I had no idea. It was great working with everybody, and then Jack invited me on to the next game, which was Revolution X. We were trying to develop Mistress Helga. He had an idea. He wanted to be like this mistress, you know, in leather, and I said, well, I got some ideas, you know, and I put a black wig on and put my Harley Davidson jacket on and black stretch pants. He added chains and put some labels on it, and he was just like, perfect. And then that is how Mistress Helga developed. That was a blast. And then I just started working with Midway, you know, game after game, and they said that they needed a new Sonya and asked me if I'd like to do it, and I said, absolutely.
I think John one time was just walking by me in a hallway. He's like, hey, Sal, you feel like being a character for, you know, Mortal Kombat 3? And I'm like, yeah, sure.
By the time we got to Mortal Kombat 3, we had a complete blue screen studio, professional lighting, professional cameras, a green room, dressing rooms for the actors.
Hey, get out of here, man.
Jack Hager put that all together. It was phenomenal.
Each capture session was 2 to 3 days. John and I would do the lighting. We always consistently had what we called a money light that just was a rim light. And we'd spend a lot of time doing that because there was no going back with the lighting.
Whenever you're making a game, you would record the data and then immediately check it in the tool to make sure the lighting was right, to make sure the size was right and whatever.
The camera takes in the signal into our beta cam recorder, and we also run a signal into our PC. This is where we do the actual grabbing of frames to be digitized. We're able to click through frame by frame, delete the frames we don't want, keep the frames that we do like.
Once you had all that set, then you could start kind of rolling into the actual moves and then forget about the technical side of it.
When we started filming a character, we'd get into work probably roughly around 10 o'clock, and usually the whole filming process takes, all day.
An average day of a 14-hour shoot. We came in, we got into makeup. It didn't take too long for Sonya. She doesn't wear much.
And then we have a list, a huge list of animations, kicks, punches, uppercuts, and then the special moves and stuff. Capturing every single frame of them performing these moves.
Neither Sal nor Carrie had martial arts
Background,
right? They were super athletic.
I watched a lot of martial arts. I watched a lot of, Bruce Lee and Jackie Chan, and I studied like the theatrics of martial arts, but I didn't have the discipline.
Right, and my background was just gymnastics and boxing.
Sonya Blade, there she is. Yeah.
A little bit of WWF wrestling.
Oh, jeez. That's no way to begin a demonstration. Well, I think Sonya is in a little trouble here. She's being tied to a dog.
So I was more into the falls and the suplexes and that kind of stuff.
There was this tomboyish quality to her that doesn't come across when you see her.
Yeah.
And then once you work with her, you realize, holy crap, she's going to do everything we need and more.
Yeah.
Probably the hardest thing about doing any of the moves is you had to start and finish in the same spot.
And that was the main thing, is getting back into idle. They wanted all the follow through. They wanted all the momentum, but they wanted all that power to come all the way through, but then you had to always get back into idle pose, and that was the main thing.
I remember I added like the scrunchie in my ponytail, and we always tried to work together with costuming. They would have like the basic costume, and then they would let the actors kind of bring in a little bit of detail.
Helping John with creating costumes was like this art project. We would go to sports stores and buy like hockey gear and army surplus stores and just buy pieces and hey, that works and put some duct tape on it. And Home Depot has this cool rubber piece that we could use for Sector's helmet. And it was very do-it-yourself.
But the helmet itself was so back heavy that literally everything that I did was it was pulling my head back. And the mask, by doing this, the mask looked like it was looking forward. So I was always kind of doing this with everything, with all my actions.
We wanted it as compact as possible because we didn't want him to look out of proportion.
Yeah.
And so the helmet is really tight.
It must have been torture for,
Right.
8 hours or whatever.
That's where your neck problems
That's
came.
why my neck hurts so much.
I think with the Sonya costume, he was just trying to keep everything in when you're bouncing around.
I think my favorite Sal character is still Nightwolf. He just turns into that guy and he extends his chin, he almost transforms.
Sal, he had no fear. He would just go over the top. He would just insist on trying a move that we were afraid he'd get hurt from.
Throwing himself around.
Yeah,
Left
just
arms.
so committed to it.
You need to look like you're taking pain. You snap your head back, really kind of throw yourself over. And when you fell, you had to look like you were getting hurt. So I would throw myself twisting around as much as I could at a time. Many times I would land, on my neck wrong, land on my back wrong.
Sal would often hurt himself, or not often, but he has a history of hurting himself, trying to get the best performance.
It didn't matter if we were working or if the camera was on or whatever. I just throw my hand out and put my hand on the back of his neck and go wham!
Smack my face
And
into
he'd
it.
fall back onto the floor, and everybody is like, "Oh my God!"
And in fact, I think her and Sal would have contests with each other to see who can do what better. It was fun watching those two go at it.
They're still good friends to this day.
So if I was going to hit you hard, I'd
Yeah.
See?
Yeah, so it's not the hardness, it's the location.
reactions. All just in reaction.
MK2, we were just fully embracing the secret nature of the game. Smoke and Jade were hidden characters. For MK3, the codes were basically just putting it front and center. Like it wasn't, oh, discover whatever. It was like, here are your secret dials, you know, play with your secret dials.
There's 6 little boxes, 3 of which are controlled by player 1, 3 of which are controlled by player 2. Try different combinations. There's a million possible combinations to see what can be unlocked in the game.
To get the code for Unlimited Run, each player must press low punch 4 times and block and low kick 6 times.
Marketing jumped on that and said, oh, we could do stuff with advertisements and give this magazine these codes and give magazines that code.
By using these symbols, ads will provide clues to codes on MK3 games. It's like a puzzle where one piece is missing. To solve the puzzle, players must go to your location and play the game.
I remember in Mortal Kombat 1, sneaking in Reptile. Reptile was such a big hit that we wanted something in the player's face that was this long string of digits. It encouraged conversation, speculation. When you activated it, from that point on, the game unlocked Smoke in the player select screen. And I remember in Mortal Kombat 3 mocking up a purple ninja, and I put the name Rain in there. Purple Ninja, Purple Rain, you know, one of my favorite albums. Just in the attract mode, it wasn't even in the game. I was kind of trolling players and putting like Ermac, you know, like Ermac was really just something for me, an audit, like certain stats that you wanted to know, how many times this character was picked, stuff like that. But everybody thought it was a character, so we made him a character.
Oh shit!
For me, the changes in Mortal Kombat 3 were, it was a little jarring in all honesty. I very much liked how 1 to 2 went, where it was, it's everything I wanted, and 3 was, the new mechanics were just, it was different.
I think the Mortal Kombat that threw me the most was 3. 2 felt like it took 1 to the extreme. Everything seemed like Mortal Kombat 1, but more. Mortal Kombat 3 felt like almost like a reboot of the franchise in a weird way. And for maybe 15 minutes when I first played it, I was like, this isn't Mortal Kombat. I want to go back to Mortal Kombat 2. And then when I realized I could go into like this insane combo that eventually resulted in someone exploding, I was like, oh, I'm back in. This is Mortal Kombat. This is definitely Mortal Kombat.
It wasn't a surprise to see that they wanted to incorporate a little bit of those dial combo type mechanics into that game, because Killer Instinct was really popular.
I think that was the one that introduced the run button, if I recall.
The run button? Oh my god. Like, that changed so much stuff.
The run button I've never gotten used to this day. I just never find the right way to use it. So I never used the run. So I became a little bit more defensive with MK3.
And I remember the moment when someone punched me through a stage and being like, oh, wait a minute, like the game is like breaking its own fourth wall. And that stuff was cool.
Round 2, fight.
Going back to Mortal Kombat 2 after playing Mortal Kombat 3 with the run button was like going back to Street Fighter 2 Champion Edition after playing Street Fighter 2 Turbo. I could not go back speed-wise. It was so fast, and it felt more aggressive, which is what Mortal Kombat should be.
I got my first speeding ticket racing to go to the arcade before it closed to play Mortal Kombat 3. I was just hauling ass in my 1991 Saturn, which was red, and I thought it was cool. My first car that Jazz Jackrabbit bought me. And, you know, cop pulls me over, and he's like, is everything working okay in this car? I'm like, I guess, officer. He's like, well, what about the speedometer? I guess I hit the run button with the accelerator in my car. I think Ed and John still probably owe me $50 for that ticket.
Saw you in the video on that.
Saw me in the video?
Yeah, you were working in your office.
Oh, right, yeah, I know, isn't that cool? Yeah. I'm famous now.
Yeah, yeah.
Hi, Dave, what's up? Probably out of focus anyway.
Pull away and go higher.
Okay, let's roll. Okay, this is Mortal Kombat 3, and here are 4 of the fighters from Mortal Kombat 3.
first contestant is... Sonya! Yeah. Sonya Blade, there she is. Yeah. Number 2, Kato. Right. That's Kato. Number 3 is Jax. Yes. Let's go. Yeah. And finally we have Kung Lao. All right, let's hear it for them. They're going to be giving us a little demonstration of martial arts technique. Here we go. We start with Kato and Sonya. Oh, jeez. That's no way to begin a demonstration. Well, I think Sonya is in a little trouble here. She's being tied to a dog. A fate that shouldn't befall anyone. Kato is swelling with pride. He's proud of himself. Yeah. Who will save Sonya? Who will? Ooh, Kung Lao. Lost his path. Pretty even match. Several punches below the belt there. Ooh, it's Jax. Maybe he'll save Sonya. Saves the day. All right, let's hear it for all of our Mortal Kombat characters. We have Sonya, Kung Lao, Jax, and Kato. Well, we did have Kato. Once we had Kato. Now we have a shell of a man. Let's hear it for him one more time, the Mortal Kombat characters. Thanks, guys. I should let you know that this is the year of Mortal Kombat 3, really. There'll be a lot more than just this game, as if that's not enough. This is really the first element of the year of Mortal Kombat. It begins really today. In addition to this, there will be a making of Mortal Kombat tape that comes out in June. In July, there will be an animated feature that comes out. In August, there will be a feature-length film that comes out from the from the producers of Terminator 2. In September, there will be a live tour that kicks off. We'll go all around the globe and hit more than 200 cities. Also, operators who purchase this game will be getting a free ROM update that will include special new characters, special secret codes, special new backgrounds, and all of that will be coming in September. That will be a free ROM update. But right now, we'll get Ed Boon and John Tobias over here. Hey, Ed, John. And they're going to give us a little demonstration of Mortal Kombat. Ed will explain a little bit more about the codes that we talked about and how those feed everything back into the game.
First, I guess we'll start off with an explanation of the game when you start. On one-player map, you notice here there's 3 towers, 3 different heights, for 3 different degrees of difficulty. You know, a lot of people, some people were so good at Mortal Kombat they would be able to go through the whole game in 1 quarter. Other people couldn't get past the first guy. So we basically set up 3 different levels of difficulty to allow the the player for advancing higher level. The smallest one also has a lot more capability, a lot more characters and stuff. different about this one than the previous one, Mortal Kombat 3. Thank you, Kato.
So who's judged by it?
Okay, people, what Jim just mentioned, that our code system is some, no, actually, here's a fatality. What Jim was just talking about was a code system that we put into the game that you can access through the versus screen in a two-player game. And what these codes do is they enable the player to get to different variations of playing the game. There's all sorts of things like this buried into the game. Again, accessible through the secret codes. And as I was saying, the codes are hidden all over the place in ads, in the motion picture that New Light's putting out, and that'll be released in August, and that's a $40 million motion picture. Also,
Mortal Kombat rock!
Before it all began, there was the void that contained the essence of everything. Within the void existed the gods who created the universe, except for one. He was not of the gods, but remained apart, and dwelled in a terrible place called the Outworld.
Whose idea was Mortal Kombat?
The initial idea, I woke up. What is artist video? Imagine smell, speed to the art.
They can't kill me. Gotta stay smart. They're not gonna win.
Prepare yourself for the most revolutionary animation ever in the world premiere of Mortal Kombat, the animated video. Forget virtual reality. You're there in this awesome PG-rated direct-to-video animated adventure of a lifetime. Get next to the coolest and hottest characters anywhere. Buy the video and you'll also get the making of Mortal Kombat, the live-action movie, plus secret combat codes and a free watch offer. Mortal Kombat, the animated video. Only $14.98, rated PG.
I thought it was fabulous. The show was just incredible.
I loved it. I thought it was way much better than Power Rangers Live.
Mortal Kombat, live on stage. The best family show of the season, Rights USA Today. See illusions, gymnastics, lasers, stunts, and more.
I'm so excited.
The show's great.
It was great, man.
The New York Times calls it an action fantasy spectacle. Prepare yourselves for Mortal Kombat, live on stage. It's coming. Coming to an arena near you.
David Fishoff, who had worked on some other live events, we had a meeting. I think we can do the Mortal Kombat live. do people on trampolines and do whatever, because Cirque du Soleil and some other things were happening then. So David sold the dream and we bought into it.
Next, how about adding a live-action road tour? Beginning in September, Mortal Kombat The Live Tour will sweep across the globe, bringing martial arts and illusion to more than 200 cities.
David Fishoff was the producer for that tour, and he really, really wanted me to be on that tour, even though I sucked at karate, to do publicity work. Pat Johnson, the director, said I sucked. Just like, she has no training. She is absolutely horrible. I can't use her. Fishoff was like, she'll learn. And we trained for 3 months in the Catskill Mountains, and it was 12 hours a day. I would get up before everybody in the morning, and I would be in the gym on the treadmill, and I would show up for our routines, and I had my headphones on all the time, learning the lines, and just wanted to prove, like, I could do this. You know, sometimes people ask me, have you ever been to this state? And I always think, probably. I'd be on the tour bus and we'd wake up in a new city every day. We'd do sometimes 3 shows a day in the city. It was exhausting. It was for about a year, I believe. We even did South America. I remember we were in Kalamazoo, Michigan, and I was fighting one of the ninjas, and there was this part where he throws me up, I do a back tuck, and then I land back down and we start fighting again. And when he threw me up, I fell back down, and his foot was there, and my foot caught his foot. So my knee just went. He looks at me with these big saucer eyes, and he's like, are you okay? And I'm like, no. Put me in a headlock, drag me backstage. And my knee's out here, right? And I go, pull it. And he looks at me, and he says, I'm not fucking touching it. And he's like, you're on your own. I go get me some tape. And as he was gone, I just went like that, and it just popped right back in. And I taped it up really tight, and it sucked because I had to go back on, to go up some stairs, and then Shang Tsung was behind me, and he had to make me disappear, and I had to go down a trap chute. And that was a jump. So I had to land on one leg, and then out the back with a cab waiting for me to take me to the hospital. And I blew out my ACL. And I was like, I'm gonna finish this tour because we're almost done. I came back on stage within a week. I got a brace. I had to finish. You could not tell me that I was not gonna finish this tour. And I did it.
The way that they were crafting with all the various talent, Carrie and everybody else, to see it live, it was remarkable.
And by the end of the tour, Pat Johnson came up to me and he said, I just want you to know that I think you have balls of steel. And it grabbed to my heart because it meant so much to me for him to actually see how hard I was working. I got a little, verklempt. It was so important for me to impress him because he impressed me. And I did it.
I've read people respond to, Ultimate came out because MK3 wasn't performing the way we had hoped, but that had nothing to do with it. We were going to be releasing the home game, MK3, relatively soon.
Round 1. Fight.
So the idea was when MK3 comes out for the home, we'll refresh the arcade with Ultimate MK3.
We were fully aware of the home versions and the role they were playing, and we didn't want the arcade industry to think that we forgot about them. You'll have a cooler version.
In September, when Mortal Kombat hysteria reaches a fever pitch, a ROM update will be available to operators free of charge. When you buy the game, you own the update. This update will feature new characters, new secret moves, and additional fighting environments not available on any home platform. The update will make your arcade game a brand new fighting experience.
That was planned, and so it was part of the plan all along, and so we withheld purposely what we thought were the most popular characters just so that we would give it a bump when Ultimate came out. The fact that it was Scorpion and Sub-Zero and Katana and Mileena just meant that we were able to squeeze more characters with less memory.
Well done.
With MK2, I remember that we had such success with bringing new characters, Kung Lao, Jax, Katana, Mileena. They were so iconic that we were like, adding new characters is cool. And the next game we had 15, so we couldn't bring all 12 from MK2, and we wanted to bring back Sonya and Kano and stuff like that. So from my perspective, I just remember not really realizing how much Scorpion and Sub-Zero were the poster characters.
Yeah.
So we were just like, okay, let's make Sub-Zero unmasked, and you wrote a story for him.
Right.
And Scorpion, we'll just give him a rest, you know, which was blasphemy. We balanced it better. I think Ultimate MK3 was much better balanced than MK3. A lot of people come to me and there's this debate of what's the better game, Mortal Kombat 2 or Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. There's always this little bit of a debate going on that they play so differently. But the fact that they're so different to me is what's cool. Is like, you know, they're two very different games as opposed to the same game with prettier graphics.